$10 billion in investment from Saudi Arabia. President Cyril Ramaphosa's state visit to the Middle East is bearing fruit. Here at home, another bomb scare at a KwaZulu-Natal shopping mall. Police have certainly got their hands full trying to sort the hoaxes from the real threats. This is eNews at 8. I'm Sally Baudet. Good evening. President Cyril Ramaphosa is on a state visit to Saudi Arabia, and it seems his investment goals are being realized. The Middle Eastern country says it will invest as much as $10 billion in South Africa with a focus on energy. Now, details of the investment will be laid out in October when officials from Saudi Arabia take part in an investment summit. The country is regarded as South Africa's strategic trade partner, with oil imports estimated at 47%. The president's aggressive investment drive aims to draw in as much as $100 billion into the local economy over the next 5 years. I'd say that's a great start. We go now to KwaZulu-Natal, and there have been more bomb scares in Durban. This time, however, they are hoaxes. A mall in Mount Edgecombe and the Phoenix police station were evacuated today after threats were received. With 6 explosive devices discovered in the city recently, reporter Thathia visited 2 local malls to test exactly how vigilant staff are.
A bomb threat at Konubia Mall. Police scour the building for over an hour, and it turns out to be fake. Later, another hoax at the Phoenix police station. But after 6 explosive devices were found in Durban in the past week, with 3 at malls, authorities can't afford to take any chances. So, how easy is it to drop off an unidentified parcel at a mall? In our boot today, we have 2 parcels. Over here, we have a packet with a juice box, empty ice cream container, and some newspaper. And in this one, we have some old newspapers. Now, one of these will be left at the Gateway Mall and the other at the Pavilion Mall. And let's see exactly how long it takes before anyone notices these suspicious parcels. Recently, suspicious devices were found inside the Woolworths store at Gateway on 2 separate occasions. I dropped the first bag off near the mall's water fountain. It goes unnoticed by shoppers, but about 7 minutes later, it's spotted by a cleaner. The bag is picked up, inspected, and tossed into a bin. Our camera operator, Francois Krobler, takes the second parcel into the pavilion. He puts it under a bench and walks away, leaving it unattended. After 11 minutes, a cleaner finds it and hands it over to the information desk. So 2 unattended packages at 2 malls, and in both cases discovered by cleaners. At Gateway, it took 7 minutes before a cleaner found the package, and at the Pavilion Mall, it took 11 minutes. Now, is this just a coincidence, or is this due to the increased vigilance after the discovery of explosive devices at both these centers? Both malls have told us security has been increased in light of the bomb scares. No arrests have been made yet. Thathia, Durban.
Well, Thathia is in our Durban studio this evening. Now, the dilemma for the police, of course, 6 devices were found, but there have been hoaxes. Now, 2 of those devices did actually go off. Were they definitely bombs, or were those controlled explosions?
Well, Salif, what we know at this point is that at least 3 of those devices did go off, because 2 of them were at malls, and then there was a third that was under a vehicle on Gladys Mazibuko Road, which is near the racecourse. And that device, police told us, didn't go off, but we spoke to the owner of that vehicle, who said that it in fact did. He showed us pictures. He said that he had returned to his car after the Durban July and saw smoke and saw some flames there, and car guards were trying to put that off. So what we have at the moment is we do have confirmed devices that have gone off. But the other issue that we're dealing with at the moment is that there are also a whole lot of hoax calls that are now taking place. So we have a situation where even just today, there were at least 4 hoaxes that were reported Now, what this means is that it's putting a strain on police resources because they have to respond to this and they have to take it seriously, especially in light of what's been going on over the past week or so. And even today, just at Konubia, as well as the Phoenix police station, that means an evacuation. That means police have to go in and sweep the entire area. But then the other challenge that we're having here is that we aren't really getting enough details about these investigations that are taking place. And while I can understand that these are sensitive issues that police are dealing with at the moment, the problem here is that by the lack of information that's coming through from police, it's also leaving room for a lot of speculation, especially in the public sphere. But the one thing that is coming across clearly now is that police are investigating this. They say that they are also going to take a tough stance on hoax calls. Now, that would lead to a person being charged with defeating the ends of justice, which could eventually result in either a fine or imprisonment in some cases. So they are taking quite a firm stance on that. And in terms of the investigation into those confirmed devices, we spoke to the police minister earlier this week, and he said to us that that investigation is in an advanced stage. They're looking at footage at the moment, and they're hoping that soon they will have some results and some arrests.
Thank you so much. That was Desin Thathia from our Durban studio. So clearly increased vigilance at malls. It does seem that the packages left were picked up quite quickly by cleaners, and also, as Desin said, with the hoaxes into this mix with the very real and present concerns about actual devices, there are some severe penalties for any hoax callers. Moving on now, Nduduzane Zuma was back in court today for the second time this week and will be back in the Randburg Magistrates Court on the 23rd of August. Now, Jacob Zuma's son is facing 2 charges of culpable homicide. Nduduzane Zuma appeared for less than 5 minutes in court. He was formally charged for a car crash. In 2014, his car collided with a taxi and 2 commuters, Phumzile Dube and Nanki Mashaba, died. Now, even though the magistrate found his actions to be negligent at the time, the National Prosecuting Authority did not prosecute him for culpable homicide. But the NPA made an about turn after lobby group AfriForum moved for a private prosecution on the matter.
AfriForum wrote to the Office of the National Director of Public Prosecutions requesting a nolle prosequi certificate. That then prompted further handling in this matter since it was already closed. So further handling of a matter would come if only there is a complaint about dissatisfaction in handling of a particular matter. This happens on a daily basis in every NPA office. So this request then by AfriForum prompted the Office of Advocate Sibongile Mzinyate to do further handling in the matter, and that's when he came with a decision to review the prior decision taken by the Director of Public Prosecutions not to prosecute.
And there was drama outside the Randburg Magistrates Court after the brief court appearance today. Members of Black First, Land First prevented AfriForum's Kali Kriel from speaking to journalists. BLF was at court in support of Nduduzane Zuma. They believe his prosecution is a vendetta. BLF clashed with some members of the media who they accused of being Stratcom journalists. Reporter Malungelo Boy was there.
Nduduzane Zuma arrived in court followed by a throng of journalists. Several minutes after his arrival, a handful of Black First, Land First members. With the proceedings having been brief, BLF members played bodyguards to Zuma as he exited court.
You're blocking us. Move. And in this instance, if you are in any way associated with the former president of this country, which is Comrade Jacob Zuma, has no respect for you, the state has no respect for you, the judiciary has no respect for you.
Don't you then think that the families of the women that died in this case deserve a little bit of justice as well and answers?
Not just a little bit of justice. Everyone should stand equally in front of the law is what we are saying. Nduduzane, will face the full might of the law for what he has done if he is found guilty.
Others came like this, saying it's a symbol of the victimization of Nduduzane Zuma. Then there was this, as BLF members prevented AfriForum's Kali Kriel from talking to the media. And there was more, now aimed at journalists, after this member accidentally got hit by a camera.
Yes, my brother and my comrade is beaten by one of you. And this is not an outrage. We must not defend ourselves because we'll go to jail. We want to make it clear. This is a declaration of war. We will not accept it.
Malungelo Pui, Randburg.
To Gugulethu in Cape Town now. Residents there set a fire station on fire today. This to highlight their land issues. Now, firefighters at Gugulethu Fire Station are now receiving trauma counselling after being attacked by angry residents. This is not the first time protesters in the area have targeted essential services. Nadine Theron has more.
Firefighters helplessly watched their station go up in flames after protesters set it alight. The situation remained tense for hours, with police keeping demonstrators at bay and blocking off roads nearby.
We are angry. That is the way that they will listen to us, because we've done talking to them, we tried reaching out to them, they're not doing anything.
Residents admit they attacked the building after the landowner of the area they invaded gave them an eviction notice yesterday. The landowner was apparently willing to sell the land to the municipality.
We went again to the meeting, and when we got there, it was only the landowners. The municipality was not there, but the landowners told us that they had a meeting with the municipality, but the municipality said that they cannot commit themselves, they cannot buy this land for us, so they're going to evict us. So they gave us 7 days.
The Gugulethu fire station was severely damaged. 4 vehicles, the electricity depot and the Fizeka municipal buildings were also set alight.
Unfortunately, this has occurred specifically with Gugulethu firefighters that had come under attack whilst at an incident. They were stoned by protesters. This resulted in a tremendous amount of trauma counselling for the firefighters, and they were transferred from the fire station for about 6 months. These same firefighters are now back at the fire station and have once again come under attack.
Lane says the community will suffer because they will now have to depend on surrounding fire stations. Nadine Theron, Cape Town.
Still ahead on eNews, accusations of sabotage and the cash paymaster handover on social grants. It seems a judicial showdown is looming between the government and the outgoing grants payment service provider Cash Paymaster Services. But CPS is saying, bring it on. The Interministerial Committee overseeing the management of the Social Security Agency has accused CPS of sabotaging the migration of grant beneficiaries to the post office. Earlier this month, over 700,000 grant recipients were left cashless due to glitches in the post office payment system. Aldrin Sampier has more.
We have also observed the high levels of frustration and desperation from CPS, hence they have resorted to all manner of attempts to frustrate and sabotage the migration processes.
The allegations range from illegal deductions to the unilateral increases in service fee charges and obstructing the work of the post office team appointed to oversee the migration process.
Our teams at that point in time, who were not aware that the SAPO people would be arriving, simply refused them access to the pay points.
Herman Kotzer, who speaks on behalf of CPS subsidiaries, says the company's banking arm Grindrod has the right to market its Easy Pay account option to social grant recipients as well. Kotzer also defended Grindrod's decision to increase its service fees and deduct directly from beneficiaries' account.
We now receive nothing from SASSA, and it's obvious that we need to recover the costs of still providing the payment service, and the only way we can do that is by levying a charge on the recipient.
The company says it will abide by the Constitutional Court order that all cash recipients be migrated to the post office by the end of September. But concerns remain over whether the post office can manage the transition amid a wage strike.
Of course, it's affected by perception, at least. You know, if people say, well, there's a post office that's closed there, then if it's physically closed, we can't go in there to swap. The number of actual branch closures is relatively limited.
Another point that will need to be ironed out is now that the post office workers are integral to social grant payments, will they too be designated essential service providers? Aldrin Simpier, Pretoria.
To recap your top story, $10 billion in investment from Saudi Arabia. President Cyril Ramaphosa's state visit to the Middle East is bearing fruit. We've got your weather after the break, and then have you ever wondered what New York would be like if it was underwater? No, me neither, but we're going to show you anyway.
Welcome to the Weather Center. We have a fairly big cold front that hit our shores early on Thursday morning, and it's going to maintain isolated rain showers tonight over the western and southern areas of the Northern Cape, extending down into the Southern Cape areas. Then as we get into Friday morning, we have yet another cold front, which is going to introduce more rain into the southwestern areas. And we're also going to see rain and thunder showers starting early over the eastern areas of the Northern Cape and pushing down into much of the Eastern Cape. In the meantime, it's going to be mostly sunny for the eastern areas and pretty warm for much of KwaZulu-Natal. Very cold, however, for the southern parts of the Northern Cape as well as parts of the Southern Cape interior. Now we are going to see isolated to scattered rain and thunder showers on a Friday across the eastern areas of the Northern Cape. It's going to be pretty chilly in most areas. Appington peaking at just 15 degrees. Colder for the western and southern areas. Sutherland starting at -4 and peaking at just 6 degrees in the afternoon. Isolated rain showers are forecast for the western areas of the Western Cape, where Cape Town, Langaban and Worcester will peak at just 14 degrees. A few sprinkles of rain are also possible for Vredendal and Beaufort West. It's going to be cloudy and cold for much of the Eastern Cape, with rain and thunder showers in most areas. Temperatures over the interior just making it into the lower and mid-teens on Friday afternoon. Mostly sunny and warm weather is forecast across much of KwaZulu-Natal, but there is a chance of late showers around Kokstad and Port Shepstone. It's also going to be sunny across much of Mpumalanga, cool across the Highveld, and a warm 25 is forecast from Bombela. Mostly sunny skies are also forecast across Limpopo, Polokwane, warming to around 22 degrees. We stay with mostly clear skies across much of the northwest, with a small chance of showers in the evening around Vryburg. We are also going to see light rain and thunder showers over the western areas of the Free State, Bloemfontein, warming to around 19 degrees. Gauteng should see just a bit of cloud overhead, with top temperatures in the upper teens and lower 20s on Friday afternoon. Now on Saturday, we are going to see a bit of rain over parts of the south coast, isolated rain and thunder showers for the eastern areas. Then on Sunday, cloudy, rainy and chilly weather is forecast for eastern South Africa.
And finally, we've all seen the possible devastation that could be caused by climate change in the movie The Day After Tomorrow. But what if you could get first-hand experience of what New York would look like if it was underwater? Well, one artist is taking climate change awareness to a whole new level. Mel Chin has unveiled his much-anticipated exhibition called All Over the Place in Times Square. The on-location display comprises 2 installations titled Wake and Unmoored. The futuristic exhibitions include a virtual reality experience which will allow visitors to see a flooded Times Square. Chin says he hopes the exhibition will get people talking about the effects of climate change. Recap of your top stories. $10 billion in investment from Saudi Arabia. President Cyril Ramaphosa's state visit to the Middle East is bearing fruit. Another bomb scare at a KwaZulu-Natal shopping mall. Police have their hands full trying to sort the hoaxes from the real threats. From me and the team, a very good night.